Vicki Lynn King is a transformational life coach, as well as an award-winning singer-songwriter and motivational speaker. In Vicki's book, Where Do I Go From Here?, she tells her own personal story of fulfilling her dreams and offers up some exercises to help you get started doing what you really want to do. In this book, Vicki shares with humor and insight her own struggles and triumphs on her journey in creating a life she loves.
Hi, Vicki. How are you?
Hi, Jen. I'm great. Happy to be here.
You're a transformational life coach, an award-winning singer-songwriter, a motivational speaker, and now an author. Was writing a book always on your life's wish list?
You know, it really was. I'm just an avid reader, and I have dreamed about writing my own book for many years. And when I finally did it, it was a creative process that was just invigorating. I so enjoyed it. And when I held the book in my hands for the first time, it was really remarkable. I looked at it, I was looking through it, and I went, this is almost like a real book.
It is a real book.
It is.
You know, you've had a number of careers in your life, a lot of twists and turns, and now this is just one more thing to add to that resume.
That's right. I'm happy that it's complete. I'm just so excited about getting it out to people so that hopefully their lives can be helped in some way.
One more bucket list item crossed off the list, right, Vicki?
Right, that's right.
Vicki, one of your careers was singing, and you learned a valuable lesson after competing in and losing a singing contest that you entered for 3 consecutive years that you talk about in the book. What did you learn?
Well, the contest was a national competition, and there were 100,000 people competing in it. And after I lost for the 3rd year in a row, what I learned was that the most important ingredient, I guess you'd say, in being a success and having your dreams fulfilled is perseverance. So, you know, success is the result of wanting something so much that nothing can stop you from getting it. That's what I learned.
Well, and you did persevere, and you entered again a 4th year in a row, and you won.
I did. It was amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Which experience do you think, in retrospect, taught you more, the losses or the win?
You know, I would say the losses, because they taught me many lessons. And one of the most important lessons I learned was I don't need to compare myself with other people. It's pretty amazing that I came up with that, since I was in a contest, which is all about comparing. But I don't need to compare myself with others. I'm here on earth to share the gifts that I have, the way that I can do that. And we all come to earth for the same reason, to share the gifts of who we are with the world. So that was a big lesson for me.
Well, after singing, you went into a corporate management position. And after you left that position, you said that you experienced a meltdown. What happened?
Well, it was really odd because when I stepped down from my regional management position to, you know, have more of a personal life. And when I stepped down, the phone stopped ringing and people stopped emailing. And I was like walking around, pacing the floor, wondering, what do I do now? Does the phone still work? I would pick it up and listen for the dial tone. And I think what started to happen to me was I started to feel depressed and kind of lost. And I think that I felt like I wasn't needed anymore. Mm-hmm. And I came to the realization that probably my self-esteem was coming from my job instead of from within myself.
Well, and it's that feeling of, you know, what's my purpose?
Right. It seems that I have to relearn lessons over and over again in my life.
I think that's true for all of us, Vicki. So what was the turning point for you? What brought you back to a place of a higher self-esteem, a place where you felt peaceful and content in your skin?
Well, I think that when I realized what was actually happening within myself, I knew I wasn't taking care of myself. So I went back to things that I knew would help me, like meditating. Again, I hadn't been doing that as much, and that's a way that I really connect with my Creator. So the spending more time with God really helped me bring peace back into my life, and I started to, daily practice this and try to go back to being thankful. And for me, that's a real discipline. It takes a lot of practice.
Well, you give some exercises in the book to help us tap into what we really want. What are some of the questions that we should be asking ourselves that will help us really identify with that?
Well, I think the main one would be, what would I love? I mean, what would I love to do? What would I love to be? What would I love to have? What would I love to give to the world? And what brings me joy? And, what really lights me up? What is it? And if we're not paying attention to those things and looking for those things, we won't be aware.
You also give some tips on goal setting, which I think ties into really what we want. What are some of the tips that you've used that have helped you?
I think that it's very important to state your goal in a positive way, in the present tense, instead of saying, here's an example. If you want to stop spending money, instead of saying I'm going to stop spending, say I'm thankful that I always have enough in my checking account to pay all of my bills. And so that puts it in the present tense instead of pushing it off into the future. Mm-hmm. And you need to write your goals down. You need to not only write them, but you need to think them and speak them, because thinking activates one part of your brain and writing and speaking activates another. So when you activate all of your brain, it all can go to work on your goal.
What are some of the thoughts that people have that get in the way?
Oh, my goodness. I have so many thoughts. When I started to write the book, the first thought that came into my head was, who's going to read a book that I write? And I don't know how to write a book. What if it's a terrible book? Mm-hmm. Those things just popped into my head. And I think that I was kind of paralyzed by that for a while, and then I broke free from that. But the thing is, we have to learn that we can control our thoughts and not have them control us.
Well, Vicki, how can people get in touch with you, get a copy of the book, and learn a little bit more about you?
Well, my website is www.VickiLynnKing.com. That's VICKILYNNKING. And my Facebook is the same, except it has a Vicki Lynn King and a number 1 right after that. So you can go to my website and you can see how to buy the book there from Balboa Press.
Well, it's a really inspiring book, and congratulations on one more of your dreams coming true.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.